Here I am again. Yes, having a bit of an anxiety attack. Tube in my head is clogged up again or something or whatever. And it's messed up my vision and my hearing. But anyway, that's sort of the subject again. Back to this idea of perspective and how we all start off perspective just from the fact of, our native condition even will give you perspective. And it's just kind of funny how it can go both ways. A person could be blighted with some sort of horrible circumstance, like, fall off a mountain, break your back, stuck in a wheelchair for life. And some people will acclimate to it and say, oh, this is kind of fun, and I can play basketball in a wheelchair, and I can do this, and I can do that. And other people will just like, oh, life is just impossible. Everything that I value is gone. Everything I fed on, and they just starve. Their soul just dies. And it's just kind of funny how that works out. It's not funny, but those circumstances, it's tragic. But yeah, we're all struggling through this from a different position. And I could sort of see it with my family. I was kind of the black sheep, because they were all kind of very comfortable, risk-taking, kind of joyriders. And I really was kind of a, better safe than sorry. Why do I want to do that? What's the big deal? I just wasn't that bold, or aggressive. And I guess I was much more protective of something, just keeping what I had, not losing any more. And that might just come out of the fact that I was pretty uncomfortable by native disposition. I always had there was always a negative undertow kind of current running, in my ocean. It wasn't a smooth, calm sea, whatever the metaphor would be. But yeah, there was some angst always there, some, it was hard for me to find peace and comfort and, that ability to take a calm breath. It always came hard for me. So obviously people in these different conditions, these different circumstances, are going to view life very differently. It's just simple analogies. It's like, deep sea fishing is going to be a different experience for somebody who gets seasick and somebody who doesn't. Or an ocean cruise, or whatever the analogy would be. They're going to have completely different experiences in all likelihood. And so that's part of what has to be accounted for when we talk about the human race, is that there isn't one kind of human. There are different kinds of humans with different sensitivities or sensibilities, and people got to at least counter for it. You can't just pretend it doesn't exist. And so when they talk all this bold talk, you should just buck up or kill yourself or some other kind of crap. They're talking from a place that's completely different than that other person's got to live with. And so that's really just bullshit. It's like telling somebody in a wheelchair just to get up, and walk. What the hell is that shit? That's what's out there. People are that crude and baboon-like in their philosophies and their understanding of reality. So anyway, I don't want to go with this. So yeah, it does pervert the foundation from which we do this philosophy thing. There's people who are comfortable are quite obviously not going to see it, and they're only going to be able to imagine. So they have to use their imagination and say, well, what's it like to be starving? Or what's it like to be living in a cardboard hovel, in Haiti, some stink, the sewage in your front yard, and the smell. You know, when your pet is a cockroach. You know, and they have to do a little bit of pondering to get there, because their life is nothing like that life. But then the weird thing is people who live that life grow up in that world, and they keep thinking that somehow they're going to grow out of it, or that they're going to, by giving their kids the same thing, somehow they're giving them the gift. But I think the argument can be made that people really just don't think about it. They just do what everybody else is doing. And that's why, that's probably one of the biggest reasons to be down on religion, is that it creates a huge justifying excuse for this bullshit. This, you know, be fruitful and multiply crap that doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense in a primitive world. You can't make any logical sense out of that kind of philosophy in a world where, you know, population is growing on a finite planet. You know, that's a real problem. Yeah, so this isn't exactly where I wanted to go with this video. I just kind of want to get to this idea of what makes the difference between person A and person B, you know, Republican, Democrat, or whatever it is. It's just not that much. It really should be isolatable to, you know, a list of one or two premise perceptions that make that possible for there to be a difference. And I think by even maybe trying to understand the difference between two people, and you know, who have the same thing happen to them, and one chooses path A to acclimate to their new life, and one chooses path B, which is a refusal to let go of what they loved about their old life. And to understand those differences, we maybe can understand how to get through the differences between us, at least isolate them. I mean, that's all. We should be arguing about the real argument. And I think there is an underlying argument. I think it really does come down to people are out of perspective. They're in different perspectives in terms of when they look at this, they see Gaia. They don't see blood and 4 billion years of cutthroat evolution. They see Mother Nature and a circle of life, and little songs play in their head, and you know, all the zebras are singing, and you know, or some kind of crap. They don't see it for what it is. And so that would be one of those differences where if they saw it, if they could see what I see, for example, yeah, they just couldn't find a way to make some of the silly arguments they make, because it wouldn't make any sense in that context. You couldn't defend consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. So anyway, especially if you knew the cost, which was this capacity to feel, you know, absolutely alienated to your existence, to feel it like a visceral, hard aversion and repulsion, you know, to the lack of control we have. You know, there's some people that are going to acclimate to being a slave. There's some animals, I've used this argument, but I'll use it again. There's some animals that accept domestication, accept being a zoo animal, accept the bit being put in their mouth and being trained and acclimated. And then there's some animals that just aren't going to do it. They can't sacrifice that much of their sense of themselves, their dignity, their control. They can't give up that much control. And I suppose I'm one of those people. I can't give up control to dumb forces. I won't salute something merely because it has a patch on its sleeve. It's got to prove to me it earned it. You know, it's got to demonstrate that. So anyway, yeah, kind of a minor video, but I'm having a minor beginning to my day. Uncomfortable, but not your problem. It's my problem, and there are worse. So I guess I shouldn't complain. But, you know, I complain. That's what I do. Till next time.